Hey guys, what's going on? This is Jessica from Billionaire Forex Society. So I'm home today and pretty much we've had an amazing trading week. I gave out some really good trades and I wanted to go over them with you briefly and just show you what things I was looking for to help you maybe with your technicals. I don't use any indicators. I am a technical price action trader. So I'm going to go over pretty much market structure and your essential trend lines and fibs and things like that. So I hope this serves as value to you. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out to me and make sure you subscribe below just so you can stay updated with these type of videos as I intend to do more. So let's get to it. All right, let's get to it. So Bitcoin was one of the first ones we looked at. One of my advanced students, and she's now an admin, actually provided the second trade and I provided the first. But it was very, very simple, you guys. As you can see, I just have some levels marked here with market structure. So if we go to the weekly time frame, which is one that I like to use, we can clearly see the market at this point right here has created lower highs, okay? And it's respecting this trend line. So I have a weekly trend line here. I then go to my daily and I just look for areas that I believe, that just serve as significant levels. So I use what's called the weekly zone right here, because you can see if I stretch this out just recently, it's a respected area. And if we go to the daily, you'll be able to see more of that. I just don't like to stretch it out too much because it's on the weekly. So I just keep it like this. The next thing I did was I wanted to wait and see if it was going to retest. So I am a retest trader. I do not trade breakthroughs. I trade retests just for added confluence and confirmation. So basically what that means is when I see price respect this trend line, okay, that is a really good indication to me to get into the trade, to go down, to sell, okay, a bearish trade. So if this was missed right here, what I wait for is some type of retest. And as you can see, we had two retests besides this one right here. Now I'm going to zoom in just so you can see what I look at when I look at trades. So we have a weekly trend line, which is very strong. Now, when I analyze things on a higher time frame, those levels, those trend lines, support and resistance, those are going to be stronger than any other time frame below them, in my opinion and from my experience. So when I saw that it was respecting the weekly trend line, I then began to see that we had some exhaustion here. And the exhaustion is right here. Okay, let me make this black and make it a little bit bigger. You can see where it basically just served it, I mean, right here, okay? It served as support here, and then we had a resistance level here, which some would say that this is a flag, okay? A flag pattern, but this would be a bullish flag pattern, and I wasn't looking for something bullish. I was looking for something bearish. But we did have an area where it just kind of consolidated. And whenever I see that, I call that candle exhaustion. So the next step I like to do is I like to just drag it out a bit, and I like to go to a smaller time frame just to see what those candles are looking at. Am I getting a lot of sideways movement? Is it ranging big up and down? What's going on at this point? All right, so let's just quickly go to the 4-hour and we can see where the market kind of just danced around. All these wicks on the top is a very strong indication that the bullish momentum has weakened and the sellers are trying to come in. Okay, so that is a really good sign, especially when it's at a resistance level and it's at a weekly trend line. Very strong indication that we are going to be going down for a bit. We're going to be going bearish. Okay. So what was great about this was I personally waited for the retest. Okay. Because I didn't get in right here, but I did wait for the retest, and to see that bullish engulfing candle not penetrate that weekly area, the weekly trend line and weekly zone, plus that market structure was just all I needed, to be honest with you. Now I could use my fibs, and because you're looking for a sell, what you would do is grab your fib from the swing high. And at the time, all I had was this. Okay, all I had was this right here. And I'll put replay mode just so, let me see if I can go just to the next. Where is it? Okay, there we go. So, oh, no, go back. Sorry, y'all. I'm definitely pressing the wrong button. Okay, well, that doesn't help. Here we go. Okay, so we can clearly see I drew my fib from high to low, swing high to swing low. Now what I'm looking for is a retracement, okay? My first idea of a retracement, I like the 71, 61, 8. 78, 60, 71, and 61, 8 are my deal areas that I like to enter in on a trade, okay? So these are always my key areas. Now I'm gonna delete this blue box just for clarity purposes because we've already gone over that. So I just like to look around this area, and this is my ideal entry area, okay? That's my ideal entry area. Now, what I'm looking for is to see if the market can come back and retest this. Now, what's beautiful about this is that we already know that these candles here, they're serving as a support, okay? They're serving as a support if I include the wick, all right? They're serving as support. Let me delete the resistance that we discussed. And if this can come back and retest this area, or right here where these candles closed and opened, if it can come back and retest this area and close below, that's my additional confluence for me to just go ahead and get into the trade. Now, once I start to see that happening, I will go down to the 4-hour and wait for that retest. And then sometimes I'll go to a smaller time frame for just it depends on what I see, but I'll go down to the smaller time frame as well. So while we sit here and let it play, we can see that it was a perfect retest to where these candles closed and opened. Okay, so right here where it served as that support area, the market came right back to it. So once the market came right back to it, my next step is to go to the smaller time frame and look for an entry if I have not put in a sell order, a sell limit order, okay? And we're putting in a sell limit because price was below and we're waiting for it to pull back. So what I'm doing here is I'm looking for an entry. This is my ideal area. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a little bitty box because we are on the daily and this is going to look huge on another time frame. Unfortunately, the replay mode is not going to transition over to the 4-hour, so we're going to see what's to come of it. But I'm also going to just draw a vertical line on the candle that we're interested in and go down to my 4-hour. Okay, so as you can see right here, I'm looking for an entry. Now, there is a technique that I teach in my course that literally gives you like wick entries all the time. It's freaking amazing. I love it. I'm not going to disclose it this time on YouTube because, again, this is something I do special for my students, and I don't want them to think that I'm putting all my secrets out there. But you can see if you didn't use the fib, you could at least use an area within here. And remember that black line we used to mark as a support. If you use it as your sell limit, you literally may have been in drawdown, minor pips, because for your stop loss, you should definitely consider the previous high for your stop loss as far as just basics. Now, there is a technique that I also use with that, but just for simplicity reasons, we're going to just use the previous high as our stop loss. So as long as we use that as our stop loss and this as our entry, we were good. Now, for your take profit, your ideal area for take profit is going to at least be the previous low, right? So your ideal area for take profit is going to be right here. Oh, excuse me. All right, so this is what I'm looking for right here. Now, many will say, well, that's a head and shoulders. Yeah, I see it, you guys. Okay, I see the pattern. I see, wrong one. Where are you? No, that's not what I need. There it is. So I see a left shoulder, I see a head, and I see a potential right shoulder forming. So now this is what we call confluence. I have my weekly trend line. I have my zone. I have my key level area. I have a 6178 fib ideal entry. And then this is showing me that this is a potential head and shoulders. Now, is it going to complete the pattern? Possibly not. But I know at this point, I feel confident about this trade and I believe it's going to make a right shoulder. So I'm going to take it down to at least here. Now, here's one thing that my mentor actually personally likes to remind me of. Remember that if the market is going to create a lower low, okay, it's going to retrace. And you can see where the market created a low here, it retraced. Created a lower low here, it retraced. Created a lower low here and retraced significantly, but that's because obviously we see what's going on here. It was a retest to the level on the higher time frame, so it had to occur just to confirm the move. So let's see what happens. So right now, the market has respected it, okay? You can, excuse me, you can see where the market came right back up, All right, I'm gonna delete this head and shoulders. It came right back up, and I'm telling you, it was a fake out, because look, if your stop loss was above here, you were good. You were good. If your stop loss was here at this high, you got stopped out, and then look, it just did everything perfectly. Sucks, right? Okay, but it's still an opportunity for you to get into the trade. All right, so that's how we got into that one. So now what am I looking for? Well, the market hasn't created, technically, it has not broken this area right here for me to consider a long-term sell trend. This is still bullish at the moment, okay? So as of right now, I can see, oh no, excuse me. This always happens when I record, but you know what? I'm human, y'all. Can't always have perfect videos. So we can see here, which was another confluence, where we were in an uptrend, the market broke and retested. So it broke the 4-hour trend line, the weekly, the zone. I mean, there's so many areas of confluence to have gotten in this trade. This would be something I would use like a double standard lot on, seriously, because it was just so perfect. But remember, we're still bullish. This can manipulate people a lot. Now, if we start to see a lot of candle exhaustion or candles like this with a wick, there's a very high possibility that we'll either get a deeper retracement, or it will fake everybody out and try to create a higher high and keep going. What I'm looking for here to make sure I'm not manipulated by the market is I would have to see this area broken and retested before I take it down to the next structure, okay? Next area of structure, which would be, oh, excuse me. Let me do this. Clone this. Which would be around here. You can see where it was resistance, support, support, support. Now look. So the only way that I'm looking to get into this trade, if it breaks and retests and goes down. If it does not do that, and let's say it just comes down, then I missed the trade. I'm comfortable with that. I'm a retest trader, but that's what I'm looking for if I'm going to ride this down. If I start to see exhaustion here and wicks all at the bottom, and there's a lot of buy pressure, then there's definitely a possibility for this to go back up. And if I were to look for something like that, I would just take it up to here. But as of right now, I'm more interested in this opportunity. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but that's what I feel good about. Okay, so that was BTC. That was Bitcoin. Let's look at another one. GBPAUD was another trade provided. And I think my markup disappeared, but that's okay. We can just look at it real quick. So you can see here where there was a previous high. So you can see here the market was super bullish on the weekly. So what I did was I had put a line right around here where the market was bullish at this high. This was the high I'm looking at. The next high would be something I would consider if it broke and retested this level on the weekly. But this was the area of interest that I had. And when I noticed the market was going back to that area, I was looking to see if it was going to retrace and come back down, okay? So for the buy, yes, that the trade was perfect for the buy to take it up, and you can see where it respected it, and now it's pulling back. We had a double top here on the daily. We can see that a huge engulfing candle previously was unable to break this area. It's a strong weekly area, okay? And on January 31st, we had no luck. It did it again. And once I saw this reversal candle here at this very strong level, I automatically was looking for a bearish trade. Okay. Now I'm not saying this is a long-term trade, but what I'm saying is I was looking for some pips down is what I was looking for. So I went to the 4-hour with the team. And remember what we just discussed about the exhaustion? You can see here where there was a ton of exhaustion here and a ton of exhaustion. The market was just, the bullish pressure was weak. It was weak at that point. So what I did here was I was definitely looking for the break and essentially the retest. A lot of my team members got in a little bit sooner, and that's because they went down on a smaller time frame, which I'm going to show you. I believe we did 30 minutes. Yeah. So you can see here, if we drew just a trend line, we got the break, we got a retest, okay? And the retest wasn't to the trend line, it was to this area of market structure right here. So you can see where it served as support, 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 came back. We had a bullish candle unable to penetrate that area, which was an indication to go ahead and take it down to the next level of structure. Now, what is going on with this trade? Okay, well, let's go to the 4-hour. And we can see that we may have a left shoulder ahead and a potential right shoulder. What I'm looking for is this going to, no, let me delete this trend line. Excuse me. Is this going to come back and retest here? Because we had the breakthrough of this area. So for me, ideally, I would like to look at this possibly retesting up here, seeing how it reacts. If I see that it rejects this area, then I would definitely take it down. Now, what can I do to add confluence to this trade if it goes as planned? I can take my fib from swing high to swing low. I now see that my retest area is the 61 entry. It's a 61 entry area. I'm not going to deny the fact that there's some market structure here, okay? But one thing I know about this pair, because I trade it often, is that it does like to either do a 38.20 retracement or a 61.80 retracement. Those are the only two options. So I'm going to wait and see. Now, if it respects the 38.20, which is this area of market structure right here, okay, then I'm going to definitely consider taking it down. However, this 4-hour candle has not closed below the structure, and I don't feel comfortable with it at the moment. This is a bullish candle and potential for it to just go up a little bit more and retrace a little bit deeper. And with these wicks right here, it's a possibility. So I don't want to rush. I don't want to rush this trade. So I'll be looking for maybe a market structure retest here, okay, and a 61.8. If I can get that for the continuation down, then I'll go ahead and take it down, and I'll be very, very happy. But that would be the only way I would consider getting back into that trade. I did want to show how we got that sell trade though, which was really good. And lastly, I'm going to show you guys EU, which was a trade that I provided. Okay, so this was very obvious, and I'm just going to start off with the weekly again, which is my favorite. There was a gap in the market, and the market usually likes to fill gaps, okay? It doesn't always happen right away. It doesn't always happen, but for the most part, it does. And as we can see here, this gap was in 2017. It took almost 3 years for it to come back and fill the gap. So when I noticed that, I realized that this was a really strong level of support, and I was expecting bullish momentum, especially with last week's candle closing like this. That's a really big sign of an indication of a bullish trend. And if we get this pattern here and it closes like this this week, then we may get some continuation for the bullish momentum. How much, I don't know, but all I know is if I draw a trend line just on these recent highs, that there's potential for it to go back up here if it decides to do that, okay? But we're not there right now. We're talking about the trade. So let's go to the daily. And now what I was looking for was some type of break and retest to this area. Now I use this this area, okay, right here as a potential take profits, just because of basically things that I teach in my course, but I use this area as take profit 1. It went way past that and respected market structure. So you can see here where this is support, 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 and look at how it just came back right to that support, okay? So that would have ideally been take profit 2, okay? Now, by doing so, as you can see, I had a box here. So I'm gonna just go to the smaller time frame. I personally like to use the 2-hour and the 4-hour. But we can see where it broke out, it retested, all right? Now this week though, on the 26th was when I did this trade, is where it broke out here. Now I got in right here and I take profit here, and then it came back down and we took advantage. So if you follow me on Facebook, you saw me provide this little setup right here, and then you saw me provide a second setup with the same key area. And you can see where we essentially got like a double retest, which was great for me because it was a retest of that weekly gap area, that gray box, and market structure. So you can see where's resistance, resistance, support, support. I wanted it to come down a little bit more. This box right here was a deeper retracement, but I wasn't going to be stupid and be that stubborn. Like I saw that it was respecting market structure. So once that happened, I mean, she literally broke through and just kept going. It was a beautiful trade. But this is essentially what I did. I used market structure, analyzed higher time frame, and I waited for the retest for entry. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys. I will be doing some more videos, but hopefully this served as some type of clarification to you. If you have any questions, again, don't hesitate to message me. I am on Instagram. I'll leave the information on here. Be sure to subscribe just so that you can get more of these little nuggets. And if you decided you want to take advantage of the course, The link is down below. I do offer monthly subscription options and one-time lifetime access options. So with that being said, I hope you had an amazing trading week. If you want me to analyze a pair for you, or you want to go over maybe a trade that you got into and it didn't go as planned, I'd be more than happy to look at that for you and help you see where it went wrong. Usually it's just timing and patience. So with that being said, have a great day and have an awesome weekend.